Hi everybody, I'm going to show you how to make your pole last longer with fiberglass or carbon fibre. Carbon fibre is more important because it's very expensive. I've got a reach it pole here that I've had for a long time. Let's see if I can get the camera angle right this time. Here we go. Here's the reach it pole. Now this must be about 5 years old. Okay, I've changed the clamps twice, I think. First from the originals, which these are, to the newer ones, and then back to these originals because somebody had a set. Okay, one of the problems with most poles is that you get wear just at the end here. You can probably see that on the camera. There's quite a lot of wear. Now when I push this clamp up here, clamp it down, you'll get that twist, especially when it gets wet. Okay, when I push it up just shy of the wear, it's great, it's sound, it won't move. You can if you really push it, but you don't need to. Okay, so the wear occurs on most poles in this bit just here. Now what to do there, I've had a video on this already, I know, but I've put tape on each section. As you can see, this is a split pole, by the way, so that the clamps just butt up to the tape. Now it's got some new clamping surface. Okay, so all I'm going to do with this particular pole, I'll show you now. I'm just going to put some tape on it. Insulation tape, the better quality, the better. Just put a few. I'm going to put this one a little bit further down than the rest. A few rounds on here, just like that. Build it up so you get a nice step of tape. Okay. And I'll cut it off with scissors. Don't stretch it. Nicely in place. Now what we find, butts up nicely, clamps in place. You can move it, but nowhere near as before. So what tends to happen when it starts to wear at this point, people tend to tighten the clamps up tighter and tighter, and then the whole pole becomes stiff to move in and out. It wears quicker and quicker that way. But like this, that's a lot better. Okay, so that's another tip. If you've got a brand new pole, okay, you could do this to start with to actually protect this part of the pole. It looks quite nice like that, doesn't it? And it's going to be a little bit longer for storage, but really, does it really matter? Especially if you've got a pole with short sections like this. They're only about 4 foot, I think, the sections on this. It's very compact, so it's not going to make much difference. Okay, if you get a brand new pole, you could put these on in advance and prevent that wear there. Okay, so what happens when you finally get wear in this section, just here, then you could take the tape off, and you've got 2 bites of the cherry. Then you've got this new clamping area, which has been untouched further up, so it's going to last longer. Also, which I mentioned before, it's a bit involved, but once you see that there's not much space here, that means there's not going to be much left to clamp. And in this pole there's very little left. So what I did, as I took the clamps all apart, I sawed a little tiny section out of one of the sides of these clamps, so there's a much bigger gap left. Okay, so then you've got much more room for the clamp to contract. So, and I've done that on all of them. Okay, except for the very end sections, because this is a split pole. Okay, that's another tip. Now that's made this last a lot longer. It still works just fine. It's absolutely superb. It doesn't rotate at all. Another tip, if you're going to split your pole, protect the end. Whether it's got stainless steel inserts or not. All I've done here is get some old squeegee blade, wrap it around the end a few times. If it's fairly long, it's better. Then wrap the tape on really tightly, make it overhang quite a bit, and you'll find that protects the end. So it's finding quite a lot of wear occurring on the end here. So there you go. You can also wax your pole. Is it worth it? Well, I'm not absolutely sure of that, but I very often wax my pole. It seems to do a good job. I don't know whether it helps or not, 'cause it just seems to last one day and then it's you need to do it again, which is a bit too much of a chew on. But I think it helps in the long run. Maybe every weekend. Good quality furniture wax. Okay, that's all the tips I can think of at the moment. So there you go. You want to make the pole last longer. That's another way of doing it. I mean, this reach it pole here is literally 5 years old. I haven't used it every day, fair enough, but I reckon I've used it more than 2 years all in all. Okay, so there you go, job done.